You haven't been able, but God says, even when you confront it with your enemy, my grace is sufficient. Anybody ever been in a circumstance or a situation where you knew the only thing that was going, the only currency that was going to work in that situation, dollars couldn't do it. The only currency that was going to work was going to be some grace money. Hallelujah. The old people used to say, I'm going to send up some timber. They were saying, I'm sending up timber because I know one day I'm going to need God to build something in my life. I'm sending up some timber. I only can send up one tree or one little branch or one little thing at a time, but I know when I put it in the hands of God that he's going to be able to construct what I need, when I need it, and how I need it. Children of Israel, he said, now I got some requirements for you, that you do not bow down and serve other gods. God's promises have two elements to them. They are conditional and unconditional. You got both elements working at the same time. You would think that that's why the gospel of inclusion does not work. Because God has the gospel, or he gives the children. Even he said to the lady that daughter had a devil, he said that when she just wanted her baby fixed, he said, it's the children's bread. Tell somebody, one condition is you got to be a child of God. That's a condition, that you be a child. Now there's always, I found out in God's kingdom, there's always some spillage. So what you talking about, preacher? There's always some spillage to whereas it wasn't intended for you, but God will let you. If some of you were to go back right now and check your record, you'll find out that some stuff God allowed to spill. Y'all don't get it. Y'all say, preacher, where you get that from? Well, if you want me to preach, I'll just tell you what happened with Ruth. That when Boaz told the reapers, I need you to intentionally spill some stuff for her. God intentionally, even in his grace, in his mercy gets him up and say, God, there's somebody down there. No, they're not a child of God yet. But if you would only just give a little spill, if you would just let something fall out the basket on their behalf, and then grace steps in, because the Bible says we are saved by grace, and grace steps in and say, yeah, if you do that according to the will of mercy, that you know the goodness of God will lead to repentance. So if you understand that they are conditional and unconditional, it's all right to be the dog eating under the table, but how many of you really eat at the table? It's better. It's all right to get a crumb, but baby, if I can get a slice of that, what was it? I tasted the crumbs, but don't you want to get a slice of what was in the crumb? I remember when folks used to tell you, quit gazing at me, you gonna make me drop my food. Y'all remember, folks, we was hungry back then. See, we ain't hungry now. When we grew up hungry, we just be looking at other folks. They bite, we bite. Because we were hungry. Wasn't we? And they didn't even get to the point they tell you, quit gazing at me. Because y'all know how it is. I've been there before. Y'all ain't never been hungry. I've been hungry. I still think about today, back when I was a little boy playing out by the hog pen. I got hungry about maybe 10, 12 years later because I was still real poor. And I thought about that day. I got real full seemingly quick, and I had thrown away a half a honey bun, it was a summer roll. I still remember it. And when I got hungry about 10 years later, my mind fell on that summer roll. Like, why I threw that summer roll away? I wouldn't be hungry now if I had ate all my stuff. I ain't crazy. Y'all please come back to church. I'm really not crazy. But when we look at what God says to them, he says, listen, I need you to get this part. He says, and ye shall not serve them or their images, but you're going to break down their images. When they worship those images, what they were doing, them being the Amorites, the Canaanites, they were giving residence to those spirits. Not only there was a point of reference. When we reference God, that's why God said, don't build no images for me. Because if you try to build an image for me, you are going to limit me. How many of you realize that God is everywhere at the same time? I can't say that God is only at consuming fire this morning. I believe he's down the street. He's across town. He's across the ocean. He doesn't need an image. What God needs is a people. He says, know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost? These people build images in order that they could commune with those spirits from devils. That's what they were. They were idol worshipers. They were idol worshipers, and they loaned their affection, and we're going to talk about that. They loaned their worship to these, and they sacrificed their children to these deities. This is why God says, this is not your type of worship. Some of us, we got to change our mindset. We got to change the way that we see God or come to know God. Some of us are saved, but we're still superstitious. Black cat walk across in front of them. They go across town, not to go across, They will take a face dive on the floor to fall under a mirror so that it don't break, because they already say if it break, it's 7 years bad luck. They will jump face first into concrete so the mirror can fall on them. Just don't break that mirror. Superstitious, believing that those spirits have more authority and control in your life than God. That's why God said you got to put them out. That's why he told them you got to get rid of them. Because if you don't get rid of them, they are going to influence the way you see things. Don't, saint preachers don't visit people like they used to. They used to visit. Folks used to invite the preacher over, they cook nice. Sunday done. Folks began to hate the preacher because they said that they would give him the best pieces of chicken, and they swore before God and all his angels that when they grew up, that the preacher would never get the breast and the good pieces of chicken no more. So it was true to their word. They don't invite you no more. But you go to the house, when the preacher were going to the house, they get an opportunity to just eyeball. You see saints with horseshoes over the door. What is that? What kind of crazy is that? If I see anything over your door, well, I don't have to do nothing where I say, look like somebody was up there with a Jerry curl. You said, no, Pastor, that's why I ordered it down. And then you tell me, I'm going to move. Baby, go in there and move that horseshoe. The preacher coming over. Don't be going, I can see the shower. That's superstition. Those are things that we as saints. But guess what? When you lend alone your spirit to those type of things, you have allowed that fear to become active as your faith. If you would, the thing you fear comes upon you. God said, don't fear them. Don't fear them. That's why when people are saying that there's something that runs in my family and it's a spirit, it's a spirit, it's a spirit, it's a spirit. If you see certain things happening consistently in a family, there is somebody in that family that needs to break the curse of that spirit. I know one family, everybody in the family dies of cancer. Seemingly, they would have come to the conclusion now and say, you know what, as a family, we are going to get together and we are going to bind up this spirit and cast it out of our family. Your deliverance is going to come little by little. God says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. It's not because we don't have access. It's because we have not accessed it to use it. We walk around with I imagine everybody in here got the big Bible that's got the birthdays and the other days wrote down in it on the coffee table. Y'all moved it off the coffee table. I don't know where y'all put them now, but everybody got one. I think we got one in here. But do you open it? Do you read it? That is your weapon. That is your sword. But a sword that is never drawn in battle will never kill the enemy. They said that there was one group of people, I forget who it was the Shiites or somebody. They said they would not unsheath their sword unless it got blood on it, even if it had to be their own blood. In other words, when I take it out, I'm cutting something, even if I got to cut myself. It ought to be to where when you open your word, the devil says, I'm about to get cut, because they are skillful. You don't become skillful with your sword unless you use it. You'll believe in God. You'll say, God, you have made promises. God, that you said you're going to do this, but you have become so lethargic in your approach to God to where you think you can cry up a promise. God is past you crying up a promise. He says you got to cast out an Amorite. We want God to feel sorry for us. God has no reason to feel sorry for you. He has no reason to feel sorry for you. Why would he? You don't feel sorry for your kids once you fix their food and put it on the table, and they running around 5 and 6 years old, and they wallowing under the table screaming, I'm hungry, and you already cooked breakfast and set it on the table. You'll beat them half to death. Just tell it. Well, I'm sorry, that's how I do. I keep imposing my life on. I am so sorry. But y'all understand, and they can walk right around that house. Matter of fact, if they don't hurry up and get off that floor making that noise, that unnecessary fuss, I tell you what, I'm going to move it off the table. So now that was yours, you're going to have, I'm not going to quit feeding you, but you're going to fast today. That's how sometimes God takes things and withhold them because of your approach to him. You are worshiping wrong. You're not even praising. You're not even grateful. You're not even thankful. You have come to think that your noise is going to arouse God to the point to where he will relinquish and give you what it is that you want. That doesn't work with God. God said you have not because you ask not. He that comes to God must first believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently. We just let the devil have his way. We become used to not having and become, and I don't want to say content. I think it's more of we allow that spirit to push us into a place that God never intended, and many times it's low self-esteem. It's a place of depression. So when we have presented ourselves to others in that state of mind or in that spirit long enough, we try to give them what they expect to see. Well, child, you know, every time I see them, they looking bad, and then folks, you get used to folks saying, baby, you all right? Well, it's going to be all right. No, it ain't going to be all right if you don't get it right. That's right. No, stop telling folks it's going to be all right. So I just start asking them, what are you doing? Have you dealt with this? Have you dealt with that? Have you gotten this straight in your life? Have you gotten that straight in your life? Rather lying to them, and next time you see them after you told them that about 3 times, now you dodging them because you ain't got nothing else to tell them. And you tired of them asking for yours. No, tell them the truth. Every time you see them, they're broke. What do you go to church? Do you give? Are you a giver? Then you tell me, well, I don't want you in my business. You ain't want me in your business, don't ask for my money. Because if you want my money, I'm getting in your business, baby. Yeah, I need to know how you're budgeting yourself. Because you live in in the same house, you got the same bills that you've been had, and you've been here 6 months, and things were good for you for the last 6 months. What did you do different this month? Well, I ain't asked for all that. You can let me have it or not? Not. Ain't no problem. If you're on the phone, I'll holler. If you're on the car, you got to get to the place to where you know how. Because, see, let me tell you something. If somebody else is under attack by the enemy, he'll use them to attack you and then try to make you feel bad about your Christianity. Can I preach? The Bible says that we are not ignorant concerning his devices, but yes, we are. God said, if you read my word and if you're being taught correctly, we are not ignorant. But if you are not reading his word and if you're not using his word, then you are ignorant. In the Bible, well, I guess you could say the Bible, Satan loves to run up on ignorant saints. You can be ignorant and be a saint. Y'all do know that. Right? See, most people think ignorant is a bad word. I am very ignorant about certain things, but guess what helps me? I got enough sense to go in the word and say, God said he gives me from grace. Grace gets me through a lot of my ignorant periods. But in that, I learn on the journey so that when I have to go on that road again, I'm no longer ignorant in that area of my life. If you don't go to school, you're just going to be dumb. I'm just going to be honest with you. Yeah. You're going to be making a big X and a little X. You say, what is that, Pastor? That means you're a junior. You're going to stay ignorant. But if you want, God says, even, he says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. Why is it that he is so adamant about us learning of him? Because until we learn of him, we have no victory against our enemy. Do you understand that? God didn't rush the children of Israel immediately out of Egypt into their promise. I got to put you in a wilderness because I got to tell you what you're going to be confronted with when you get in your promise. Some of us want to skip through the daisies. Maybe it ain't like that. You just can't skip through. You got to pass these tests. Anybody was in here was smart enough to get skipped in school? Very few of us. Maybe a couple here or there. Obviously, this ain't that crowd. They didn't skip me. I had to take every this first grade test, second grade test, third grade test, fourth grade test, fifth grade test, sixth grade test. Sixth grade. Remember something happened to me in the sixth grade. Still remember it to this day. See, I reflect back on life because I think life has always been teaching me something about me. We always learn no stuff about other folk, but see, you got to know you in order for you to know who you are in God. I was in school, and I knew I didn't have my homework. Where the kids at? They in children's church. Bless God, always have your homework. I didn't have my homework that day. But the way I was flipping pages through that ring that I probably had about 5, we didn't have much paper then. I probably had 5 sheets of paper, but I wore them out looking for that homework I didn't have. Sound like y'all new pages in your Bible. Pages you ain't never used. You know how they sound. Then, I don't know what this does, but in my mind then, if you go back that way, maybe it'll be more convincing that you're really looking for it. So I turn this way, then I turn back that way. So the teacher's just looking at me. I think I'd already used up the dog-donated excuse. So now I just don't know what happened to my homework. Somehow them 3 rings and that paper just loosed itself and it's gone. She said, quit filibustering. I remember to this day. I had no idea what filibustering meant. I had not a clue. But it was so impactful on me that I made it in my mind when I ever learned how to spell it, I was going to look for it. Because based on, now all I knew was based on what I was doing and what she said to me, just be good. What I'm getting at is this. When the devil is looking to find out if you got your homework, he's going to know if you're filibustering. He's going to know whether you got it or not. He's going to know if you just flipping pages that you ain't never read and you pass by your answer and he knows that they don't know it's in there. I'm going to attack him again. But if you say, devil, you can't have mine, can't have me or mine. Because it's in the word. You can't have my body because the Bible said by God's stripes I'm healed. I know it's in the book. It's more than just what a preacher preached over the pulpit. I've been shopping and got it for myself. It's in my lesson. It's in my hands. It's in my spirit. When I found out what that word meant, and I was in the 6th grade, and that's been a long time. Y'all see how an impression it made upon me? Who said yes? Mother, I look that old. Is that what you're saying, Mother? You know, I said, been a long time. I was waiting on somebody to say, Pastor, it ain't been that long, has it? Bless God. Listen to this. He said, I will send my fear, verse 27, before thee and will destroy all thine enemies, and they will turn their back. It seems like here there's a contradiction. God says, I'm going to send my fear before you. And they're going to turn their backs on you. But then as we progress into that text, he says that I'm not going to drive them out all at once. Wait a minute. If you send your fear and you're going to make them do whatever they're going to do, then how is it that they're going to still be there when I get there? Greater is he that's in you. Say it on this side. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. Well, God lets the enemy know that he has given you power over all the powers of the enemy. If you've got power over something, even though you are confronting it, it's just as if it's not there. Do you understand that? If, trying to see who the biggest man we got in here. What big Ingram? He got here today? He going to work? Well, we won't tell him we're talking about it. If Deacon Ingram was in here, who's the smallest man we got here? Little in stature but mighty in God. Where is he? Nobody want to claim that. Amen. Deacon Willis. Where is he? Deacon Willis here? He got a bad back. He been something. Let's say Deacon Willis. If he came up against Deacon Ingram, why y'all doing that? Deacon Willis, I had gone on with Deacon Willis, and they just insist that don't bother Deacon Willis, use Deacon Willis. Well, I know. Now you know. You shake a tree long enough, whatever in it gonna fall out. You can believe that. And when we found out in the country, Deacon Donaldson and Deacon Ingram. Now, as our visual would have it, as we would assume, it's a lost cause for Deacon Donaldson to be talking about matching fists with Deacon Ingram. He's already trained. Deacon Ingram is a trained person. He's skillful. He's a law enforcement officer. He used to bouncing people off the ground. Deacon Donaldson is just now finding out he got to fight. He's done nothing but live good in Egypt, and finally things got a little rough the way he had to work hard. But now God brings him out and says, you got to fight Deacon Ingram. How many of y'all betting on Deacon Donaldson? I know these know you ain't. One through one of the We all want the pool. Based on your visual stature of Deacon Ingram and Deacon Donaldson, our natural way of being is, he gonna get it. He gonna beat him to death. The problem is, Deacon Donaldson has something in his pocket that Deacon Ingram don't know about. I know some of y'all got some of y'all pockets that y'all want. Let me keep preaching. I know we keep on preaching. Listen, he has a promise. He has a promise, and God says, I've already chased him. He's still fighting with bow and arrows and spear. God's giving him a gun. You understand? He's still coming at him in a natural mindset. God says that it's not by power, not by might, but by my spirit. That's what God says I'm going to use because it's a spiritual war. We have lost so many battles because we have tried to fight them with our natural mind. When the Bible says we are not wrestling against flesh and blood. We are not wrestling against flesh and blood. We are not wrestling. Not flesh and blood. It's not flesh and blood. The sooner we grasp that, the sooner we get that, the sooner we are going to start getting victory, because if we're going to stop getting off the phone gossiping about what just happened with this person or that person, and the enemy now using us and basically disarming us, because rather than letting the words come out of your mouth that need to be coming out of your mouth, when God said life and death is in the power of your tongue, you got to stop speaking death and start speaking life. God said, I'm going to do it little by little. I'm going to let your deliverance come little by little. The little by little is for educational purposes. There are some things that God teaches you step by step. That's why he said line upon line, precept upon precept. If he had given you a microwave kind of deliverance, what you going to tell somebody else? What would you tell them? How would you tell them you got delivered? How would you tell them? Some of you were trapped in stuff so deep that now you look back, you don't even believe that was you, that one that was trapped. That couldn't have been me. Because every time I walk up to the mirror now, the person that I see now is a stranger to the person I saw then. Oh, I wish that y'all ain't here. I wish I had just a hammer church that would just be honest and just say, I know that that's who I was. I know that when I was looking at that person and I thought I was in my right mind, I was insane. I was insane. But it wasn't you that was insane. It was that spirit that had allowed itself or that had come upon your life to try to take advantage of you. You don't have to be spiritually possessed. The devil is an oppressor. People told they're demon possessed. Not everybody that's demon possessed because they're bad. Sometimes they're oppressed. They're being led and guided by the enemy. The enemy is not in them, but he has them in bondage. He has them in chains. He's dragging them to this and dragging them to that. And they're under the influence of. How do you know if I put you in the trunk of my car, I ain't in you, but y'all hear me? I take you wherever I want to take you. Wherever I stop, you stop. You better just beating on the trunk. Somebody let me out. And that's how it was in your life. You beating on the trunk. Because the devil had you in his trunk. You talking about, I sure want to quit this. I sure tired of doing this. I'm sure, how in the world, if you're tired, how do you not quit? You don't come to church when you're tired. I'm sorry. You know how you wake up on Sunday morning? I'm so tired, I ain't going to church this morning. And then you start counting, I've been in church 3 times in the last 2 months. So I'm being quite good. But then when you say tired, listen, you can get home on Friday evenings, dead tired. You had already said all week, I ain't going nowhere this Friday. Ring, ring. Child, you ready? No, I had made up my mind. I was good, boy, yeah. Next thing you know, before you get off the phone, you already jumping in your clothes. Don't worry about the shower. You just jumping in your clothes, back in your clothes. You know why? Because what happened is that you're under the influence of that spirit, and if you said you're not going, that spirit sends an agent. Then the Bible says that when your house has been swept clean, that he does what? He come back, he bring help with him. He brings some help. You trying to clean up? No! Oh! You know why? Because the Amorites, the Hittites, the Canaanites, the Parasites, the Gabacites, they know that if you ever take possession of you, that you are going to become a witness. You are the inheritance that God is talking about. You are the promised land that God is talking about. I would that you would prosper and be in health even as your soul. What time you gonna pick me up? Let's talk about this spirit. I told you one of the things that last week, for those that may not have been here, I'll give it to you so you can put it in your notes. Read Psalms 136, where the psalmist talks in a very repetitious manner. And you notice at the end of every verse, he says that, what?
His mercy endureth forever.
His mercy endureth forever. I didn't really realize the impact of that until I came to this lesson and began to let it resonate in my spirit. Otherwise, it made good reading. But good reading doesn't become good food until you have eaten it. Y'all realize that, don't you? How many know you got a good cook in the house, and if he or she don't cook, there's a lot of food in there, but it ain't working. Well, you better get something you can eat raw. But I found out in this verse, in this text, if you read the 136th verse of the Psalm, you see after every verse, the psalmist, in his wisdom, he said his mercy endured forever. To me, if it's walking, if I slip on this foot, by the time this foot comes down, I'm already on mercy. After everything that he said, he gave homage to God, is that it has nothing to do with my abilities, my travels, my experiences, because every experience that I have is based on the mercy that you give me. And you start reading it in that manner, and you start to let it resonate in your spirit. What is greater to have, or what is there that you can have in your life that's greater than the mercy of God? Anything? It says it's endured. How many of y'all got enough money to spend forever? So I'm going to have mercy. Wouldn't you? If his mercy endured forever, that means that no matter what I'm confronted with, I can be assured that his mercy is going to show up. He said in one place, just in case you think you bothered me too much on yesterday, to whereas you scared to come to me today. Y'all know how we get. I don't want to worry, man. I don't worry. You can worry me, but you can't worry God. I promise you can worry me. I'm going to say that again just for preaching sake. You can worry me, but you can't worry God. Y'all all right? Y'all be like, hey, what you going to say, Pastor? You're supposed to be the yes, you can worry me. Go with me to Philippians. Go to Philippians chapter 1. I'm going to begin to teach you now. I want to talk to you about the spirit of the Hittites. Hopefully I can get through this one today and tell you what that spirit is. I wish we had our slide up, but we got a new person working in the booth that's in training. We got a new apprentice back there, Sister Lexi. Amen.
Yeah, Lexi.
Sister Lexi, I'm going to get you out of this booth faster. I believe it. She told me today, you can go ahead on, we got it.
Yeah, Lexi.
Hurt my feelings. Can we get that? There we go.
She got
The
it.
Hittites.
She got it.
I couldn't get it. She got it.
She got it. She got it.
I want you to look at this spirit. I want you to take this in. I want you to really get something, because if we are fighting against spiritual wickedness in high places, you need to know what you are fighting against. How many of you, if somebody say, child, you got an enemy and they don't like you, what's the first thing you're going to ask? Who is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm telling you this morning. You got an enemy that does not like you. And if you never identified them, you could be sitting up drinking coffee with them and not even know it. And they are regular putting poison in your coffee. But if you know it's your enemy, they can't bring you coffee, can they? They can't bring you nothing to eat. They can't pat you on your back. You know why? Because you've identified your enemy. The problem with the saints is that we have not identified we know we got one. Satan,
Amen.
Lucifer, Slewfoot, Beelzebub. But how does he manifest himself? Who are his agents? See, we talk about Satan as if he has all power. Satan does not have all power. He is not everywhere at the same time, but he has fallen angels and demon spirits that work for him. We put Satan all over the world. It's the devil. No, it's the devil's agents. We need to know what kind of spirit we are dealing with in order to gain deliverance. We need to know what to bind. Jesus said, he said, whatsoever you shall bind in heaven, it's going to be what? Whatsoever you shall loose in heaven, what? Well, then that tells me if you say, he says, whatsoever, I need to know what I'm binding. Did not, when Jesus loosed the man that was possessed with devils in the graveyard, did not he get a name? He said, we are legions. Oh, that takes away from being one devil, didn't it? He said, we are devils and we are many. What kind of devil? You're going to find them in here. We are devil, we are legions, and we are many. That's why we got people that are oppressed or possessed by the spirits of the adversary. They are under Satan's orders, but they are not Satan himself. They are carrying out his works.